Excellent. Good. Very good afternoon, everyone from UK, and good evening for candidates joining from India. I welcome you all for this another exciting webinar organized by PrepMedico. I am Dr. Manikandan Kathirvel. I am the program director for all the Royal College courses of PrepMedico. I am a HPV transplant surgeon, but I'm just here to give a brief introduction about the webinar and the speaker for today. So we have been, we are a group of consultant surgeons, predominantly from UK and other different parts of the world, and we have been doing our Royal College courses functioning from UK and in other parts of the world, but predominantly in the UK. And we are known for our flagship courses like FRCS Vascular, FRCS General Surgery, Saudi Arabian courses, etc. And we started our FRC Ophthalmology program a year before, and we started with the FRC Ophthalmology Part 2 orals and FRCS Ophthalmology Glasgow Part 3 orals for the last 1 year. And we have been getting several requests for starting the whole program. Sorry. So we have been getting lots of requests to start the Part 1 program, both for FRCOphth as well as FRCS Glasgow. And hence, we are coming up with this webinar, and we will be introducing our Part 1 course, which is about to start in the early week of February, aiming for candidates appearing in March and April. So just to give a brief overview about how we organized and planned this. So as I told that we had a lot of requests from several candidates for starting in Part 1 program. So we set up a committee of our senior faculty colleagues. So all of our faculty have been doing some form of mentorship and teaching for the last few years, and they all have gathered under us to deliver an high quality program. So what we did was we went back and investigated what all the other courses which are available for Part 1 program, and we had come up with a good 5 to 6 week kind of a schedule, which again has multiple ways of teaching, one with lectures, one with our library resources, one with single best answer questions, etc. And we had come up with an unique course which will be very, very useful for candidates taking the Part 1 exams. So our faculty, Rachna, who will be leading the Part 1 program for us, she will be telling you about the course at the end of this session. But the main objective of this webinar is to tell you what is Part 1 exams. Even if you are a candidate who had never given this exam before or never thought about giving the exam, this webinar will be an eye-opener for you to know what is this Part 1 exam, what you need to know, how you should prepare, what are all the resources available. And at the end, she will be telling what we are coming up with an unique form of a course, which we believe would be very, very useful for candidates preparing for this exam. So this is my brief introduction. And again, this entire video will be recorded and it will be available in the YouTube. We'll be sharing the link in the preparation groups for you to review later as well. But with this quick overview from my side, I'm going to hand over to Dr. Rachna, who is our faculty for the FRCS of the exams. Over to you, Rachna.
Yes. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the introduction. So good morning to everybody from the UK, and good evening to everybody from India. So thank you all for spending this 1 hour of your Sunday with us, and I welcome you all to this webinar. So this webinar will be, I'm sure that many of you would have attended our previous session too. So good to see you all again today. So today the webinar will be on the part 1 exam of the Fellowship of the Royal College of the Ophthalmologists, that is FRCOphth London and FRCS Glasgow. Also about FICO optics and the basic sciences exam as well. So this is going to be an exam blueprint session where I will be talking about the format, the exam specifics, and also some exam strategy which can help in the preparation. And I will also be introducing you all to the our course that we are launching. So like Dr. Mani has introduced, so towards the end. So please hold on and be with us for this session. So before we go ahead, I would please request the attendees to mute themselves so that there's no disturbance to the ongoing of these webinars. So I please request the attendees to mute yourselves. Unless you have a doubt, you can raise your hand and put in the chat box and we will definitely get back to you with the doubts. So let's begin our session. Okay, so coming to the first exam, that is the FRCOphth Part 1 written. So this is FRCOphth refers to Fellowship of the Royal College of the Ophthalmologists. So part 1 written, it is conducted by the body. So there are different bodies in UK that conduct the exams. So FRCOphth is conducted by the Royal College of the Ophthalmologists, which is based in London. So part 1 written is a theoretical paper which is based on it's actually an exam given by the first 2 years of the trainees in UK. So that is the ophthalmic specialist training, which are the ophthalmology trainees in UK. In the first 2 years, they give this exam. So this exam is to be competent to their level, that is first 2 years of their training. So this is an online exam and it assesses the basic knowledge of ophthalmology, which includes your anatomy, embryology, microbiology, pathology, and a big chunk of optics. So coming to the eligibility, there is a lot of confusion regarding the eligibility to write this exam. So the eligibility that is required is you need to hold a primary medical qualification which is acceptable to the General Medical Council. So when I mean acceptable, that means, so usually all of the Indian primary medical qualification is recognized by the UK. Primary medical qualification is your MBBS degree. So there is nothing about the ophthalmology qualification with respect to the eligibility. It is just the MBBS qualification that is to be acceptable to the UK General Medical Council. So if you are in doubt, you can always go to this website. That is the world. Please note it down if you have doubts. So this website, www.wdoms.org #, this is the world directory of medical schools. So you can type in your medical college name and it will appear in a list. They have a drop down list. So if your medical college appears in that list, then it is definitely acceptable to the UK's General Medical Council, which is the medical body issuing the registrations here. So the only requirement is that you hold an acceptable MBBS degree. There is no minimum ophthalmology training required. So a lot of confusions here where a minimum ophthalmology training is required. No, there's no minimum ophthalmology training is required to write FRCOphth. And what other requirement is you have to open an account in the Royal College of Ophthalmologists website. So I will come to that shortly. So you have to register. Once you make an account, you have to apply the application for the Part 1 written exam. So once you fill in your details of everything, the only thing that is required, the document required, is your medical MBBS certificate has to be uploaded. So this medical certificate, a lot of the accounts get rejected at this point because your degree has to be attested. So this attestation is done by can be done by two bodies. One is you go to your college, the dean secretary and the dean signs it and seals it, or it can be done by any lawyer or a notary saying that it is a valid document, it is an original document and it is accountable. That's all that there is about attestation. So you just have to approach a college or any lawyer or notary to seal on your degree certificate, and only on attestation it will be accepted by the Royal College of Ophthalmologists on their website, and then make the payment, of course. So a lot of people also have a confusion that you need to have GMC registration, but let me tell you that the GMC registration is not required to sit the exam. So in fact, this exam, if you don't have a GMC registration, these sequence of 4 exams will end up giving you a GMC registration. So GMC registration is not required for this exam. So these are the these are the eligibility criteria. That's it. Then coming to the exam specifics. So part 1 FRCOphth is conducted 3 times in a year. So one is held in January, which was on 8th of Jan this year. Next coming up is in April, around 15th of April, and October. So usually it is during these months, 3 times in a year, and a maximum of 6 attempts are allowed. So after 6 attempts, you are deemed ineligible to give further exams. So only 6 attempts are allowed. And the fee of this FRCOphth Part 1 written is priced around 725 pounds, which comes up to 88,000 rupees. So this fee is fleeting. So what I mean by that is every year it keeps increasing by a small amount. So last time I think it was 695. So this time it is 725. So they keep increasing the fees. So you'll have to keep yourself updated, going onto the website and checking, and which I will tell you how to go about that. So this is a sequence of FRCOphth exams. So FRCOphth has 4 exams. So you have part 1 FRCOphth, which is what we are discussing today. Then you have a refraction certificate exam. You have part 2 FRCOphth written exam, which is about the clinical, like our subspecialty clinical knowledge-based written exam. And then you have the final exam, that is the part 2 FRCOphth oral, which is a Viva and OSCE-based exam, a 2-day OSCE-based exam. So the part 1 is a prerequisite to be able to give the part 2 written, as well as the part for giving the part 2 oral. You need to clear both part 1 and part 2 written and refraction certificate. However, refraction certificate can be given in any order, but it has to be finished before you give the oral exam. So part 1 has to be given before part 2, and refraction certificate has to be given before giving the last exam. So you can give this in any order. Refraction and part 1 can be given in any order. So today we'll be discussing about part 1 mainly. So in our previous session, we had discussed about FRCOphth as a whole. Today we will be focusing on part 1 written. So this is the website. So before getting into the exam per se, it is very essential that you know all about where to find the information, how to do about it. And it has been confusing for a lot of people, including me. How do I go about the website? Where do I go about the website? So you just have to type rcopth.ac.uk or just type Royal College of the Ophthalmologist. You will come to this page, Royal College of Ophthalmologist. Yeah, so this is the website, and this will get you to this homepage, which has a lot of different things about their conferences and curriculums, etc. What you have to go is go to this examinations part. In the examination, you can slide down to FRCOphth exams, and that will get you to the window which has all the information about the exams. So this is how you scroll down and you can see the exams. So these are the 4 listed examinations. You have to click on the part 1 FRCOphth exam, and this whole section is about everything about you, the application forms, the eligibility, how to go about it. All of that is listed in this section. So to the right, you can see that there are other exams listed down too. So if you click any of this, you will get similarly a whole page with all the information that you need for these exams, and pass lists and the exam reports of the previous exams as well. So what you need to do is be familiar with this website. And this is, so again, the drop down list will have fees, examination calendars as well. So they also mention the throughout 2026, what all exams are scheduled. So that is all made available in this website. So under the examination calendar, if you go to the exam fees below, you will get the exam fees for all the other exams as well. And to book the exams, also to check the dates, it's all in this website. So you have to make yourself familiar with this website. If you have any issues, if you have any FAQs, all of these are also available. They have their own emails available down if you want to ask any query. So you have to get used to this website. So now coming to the format. So part 1 written exam is a online exam. So it is MCQ based exam. So you have, it's a single best answer. So you know that there are some exams where there are MCQs, but there are 2 possible answers. But in this exam, it is just a single best answer exam. So you have 4 options and you have a total of 180 questions. So this 180 questions is divided into 2 sessions. So you have to, so part 1, when you're giving your part 1 exam, so you have part A and part B. So this part A and part B is given on the same day. So these 180 questions will be divided. So you have 90 questions in part A and 90 questions in part B. So the 90 questions will have 2 hour each paper. So the part A, you're giving it for 2 hours with 90 questions, and then you have 1 hour break in between on the same day, and then followed by the next set of 90 questions for 2 hours. So this starts in the morning around 10 o'clock and goes up until 1 o'clock. So it's a same day, but it's broken down into 2 halves with 90 questions each. So it's an online invigilated exam. What do I mean by this is, you sit in so the location is at home, wherever it's not, you don't have to go to a center, is what I mean. It's a location based, wherever you are, like at home or hostel or whatever it is. So you give the exam in the location, and there are certain requirements of your room where you have to be in. So though you'll have to look that up in the website that I mentioned. They have clear written that there are no markings on the room, nobody around, doors must be closed. So they have a criteria. So you follow that. So you give this in your room with a laptop, and you need another device, so either your phone or your iPad. So you are giving it in your laptop. There is your webcam will be switched on, and there is an online invigilator. So he or she will be monitoring you, and another cam from your side, that is with your mobile or the second device. So that will be to the side, monitoring with the view of the entire room. So you have 2 cameras monitoring you. You are at home with the laptop, and you open the link that you get for the exam, and you give the exam. So this is a very different setup, which is a little intimidating as well as confusing, but it's an online invigilated exam. You give it at home and in your own location with an online invigilator monitoring you. So 1 week, once you register for this exam, 1 week before the exam, you get a link. So that you have to run that link, which looks up at which checks your laptop for the webcam and the audio checks, makes your audio check and network check. So after that, if it doesn't, it's not successful, it suggests that you need to make some changes. So you have to do all of this 1 week before the exam, and 2 days before the exam, you get a mail with 2 different links for the 2 different parts of your FRCOphth. So the first link will open to your first half of the exam. Second link will open to the second half of the exam. So once you click on when it starts and you open the link, so you have some identity checks, and you will be face to face with the online invigilator, who will ask to show yourself, like move your ear if you have kept anything in your ear. So he will do a complete check of the surrounding and of yourself, and then the window will open for your where you give the exam. So once that window opens, your window is locked. You cannot switch your browsers, you cannot switch your window tabs. So it's monitoring your window, your computer or your laptop window. So that's how the exam goes about. So it's very different. So what I would suggest is it's something that we haven't faced normally, because it's usually OMR sheets in the centers. And so in the website, if you go, like how I mentioned in part 1 FRCOphth, So there are, if you scroll down, you can see that there are some booklets and FAQs regarding how the exam is conducted. So please thoroughly go through this and familiarize yourself about how the exam setting is going to be, how the window tab is going to be, which is very important, because a lot of people, a lot of us have faced difficulty in setting all this up, and we have lost time from the exam. So it's very important that you go through this FAQs and the booklets 5 times, 6 times, because you don't want these things to be obstacles in your exam. And about the result, you get the result usually in a month or sometimes earlier. You get it, the pass lists on the RCO website, you have to check there, as well as you get an email. So the exam is really pass or fail. It doesn't matter how much you score, but the result is given as you passed, and the number of marks from the marks from the pass mark. So you get the marks as how far you are from the pass mark that was set. So that is about how the exam is conducted. So now coming to the syllabus, the most important part, the syllabus. So this is the statistics of the exams, the part 1 exam that was held in all these months. So the left-hand side is the date of the exams. So you can see that it's divided into anatomy, optics, pathology, pharmacology and genetics, physiology, and miscellaneous. So miscellaneous includes your statistics and epidemiology, and you have investigations, which is definitely ophthalmology based investigations like OCT, B scan, A scan, HES chart. So all of these are included in the investigations. So this is the syllabus. So you can see that a significant chunk is in anatomy and embryology and optics. So optics is a big chunk in this exam, which none of us as ophthalmologists like. But unfortunately, I think we have all left it behind with our 11th and 12th standard physics. So that is the optics that we're talking about, with ray diagrams and all of those things. So that is the chunk of optics which holds a big weightage in the exam. And pathology, pharmacology, miscellaneous, and recently there is a big trend shifting towards a lot of questions being among the statistics and the epidemiology section. So that is something that we need to note. So this is about the syllabus of FRCOphth. I will come back to it, more about it soon. So this is the statistics of the results of the FRCOphth part 1 over these years. So as you can see that there is steady increase in the number of the candidates. So this is one thing that we need to look at, because a lot of people are wanting to do FRCOphth. There are rising number of standards, rising number of candidates. So with each, it was just 150, and this April 2025, it is 312. So that is like double the amount of the candidates giving the exams. This is same with the other parts too. So the number passing, although if it was 300, it is 119. So the pass percentage is just around 40 to 45, around that. Only in October 2024, it was 71, which is unlike any of the years. So this particular reason, this is the reason that FRCOphth part 1 is the biggest hurdle of the exam, because with the 60% of the pass mark is around 60%, which is out of 180 questions, around 108 questions we have to get right to pass, and the pass percentage is around 40%. So which makes it significantly difficult, because it's because of the massive basic science syllabus which we aren't accustomed to, and the MCQs are very precise. They ask specific things like what is the thickness of the posterior capsule, or what is the embryology wise, what is the week that this appears. So it's very precise. It's very taxing, and the tiny details matter in this exam. So, and this doesn't overlap with the clinical work that we do. All of these are not applied clinically. So that is what makes it really difficult. And the integration across the subjects. So they combine, this probably is easier as clinicians, because they combine clinical scenarios and pathology, and they give a case of retinoblastoma and saying that a child is with such and such mass, and they give a pathology slide image of the retinoblastoma specific. So these are the integration across the subjects. So having a whole knowledge is important. Along with that, you need to make sure that you know the tiny details of these anatomy and pathology and the microbiology as well. So that is what makes it like really difficult. So even when I gave my exam, this was definitely the most difficult exam, because I didn't know that after coming out of the exam, I didn't know like what did I mark the answers correct or what questions were there, because it felt like I had just given my second year MBBS exam with pharmacology, lot of pharmacology, lot of pathology, lot of microbiology. So it does not feel like an ophthalmology exam at all. So it's a different exam. That is what makes it very difficult. And the pass rate also is a proof that it is difficult. So probably the pass rate is even 40%, because a lot of the trainees here also give the exam. So they tend to clear easily because they are accustomed to this kind of exam. But international medical graduates passing this exam is probably reduced down to like 15 to 20%, to be honest. The rest is made up by the trainees here who are trained to be well versed in these in the beginning, because their training is 7 years. Yeah. So coming to the next exam, that is your FRCS Glasgow Part 1. So the body conducting this is the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Glasgow. So the eligibility here, so similar to the FRCOphth, you need to hold a medical qualification, that is MBBS degree, which is acceptable to the General Medical Council. Again, you can check through in the World of Directory of Medical Colleges. But in FRCS Glasgow, it is must that you have minimum 2 years of qualification experience, that is in ophthalmology. So MBBS with 2 years of ophthalmology experience. So that ophthalmology experience includes what you have done in your internship as well. You can include it, and then 1 more year. I think ophthalmology internship is just like 15 days or 1 month. So it's not really enough, but you need at least 2 years of your MS or DNB experience to be able to give FRCS Glasgow Part 1. And requirements are the same. You make an account in the Royal College of Surgeons in their website, fill the details and make the payment and upload the attested. The most important criteria for registration is the attestation of your MBBS certificate. And again, for this, GMC registration is not required. Mostly all these exams tend to give you the GMC registration. So please do not have any confusion about that. Coming to the exam specifics, so FRCS Glasgow is conducted usually once a year, usually in March, and this time it is around March 12th. So unlike FRCOphth, FRCS calendar is fleeting, so you have to keep checking the website, because they just give 2 months prior to the exam, they just give the exam date. There is no calendar for the spanning across the whole 2026. So you just have to keep looking at it for the exam dates that are available. And the number of, there is no limiting attempts in contrast to FRCOphth. So there is no limiting attempts, and the fee is around £500, which amounts to around 61,000 rupees. And like FRCOphth Part 1, so Part 1 is a prerequisite for Part 2 and Part 3 of FRCS Glasgow as well. So the format of FRCS Glasgow, it is also an online based MCQ, single answer based and 4 option based exam. But the number of questions is 160 questions, and 2 hours, it's a continuous sitting of 2 hours. So unlike FRCOphth. So it's an online based exam and taken from your own location, and it's an online invigilated exam. So this part is similar to FRCOphth. So coming to the FRCS Glasgow Part 1 syllabus. So this is pretty much similar to the FRCOphth, where you have anatomy covering a big chunk, around 30 to 35%. So their favorite areas are orbits and eyelids, lacrimal adnexal area, extraocular muscles, cranial nerves, neuroanatomy is their favorite. So it's similar as FRCOphth. So anatomy holds a big chunk here, around 30%. Optics and refraction is given as 20%, but Off lately, we are seeing a rise in the number of questions that are attributed to optics and refraction. So problem solving about lasers, about refractive errors, and these and lenses calculations, and all of this have a massive weightage in this exam as well. Apart from this, it's the same, like physiology, pathology, and microbiology, pharmacology, all of this have around 5 to 10%, and it keeps changing. In addition to this, in FRCS Glasgow, you do get some questions on acute medicine, like general medicine, about sepsis, shock, about fluids, and infection control, and all of these things, which are not in FRCOphth. So that's the only difference, I would say, that you have to look at the acute emergency medicine topics, in case like anaphylaxis and sepsis and basics, not in detail. So that is just a couple of questions in that area. So this is the syllabus, pretty much similar to FRCOphth part 1, but definitely easier than FRCOphth part 1. FRCOphth is it's a difficult exam. It's of higher standard, and this is pretty much straightforward. So FRCS Glasgow part 1 has higher passing percentage as well in part 1. Now, coming to the third part of this is FICO, Fellowship of the International Council of Ophthalmology, Optics and Basic Sciences. So this is conducted by the body International Council of Ophthalmology. So here, FICO, these are two separate exams. So you have optics and you have basic sciences. So these can be given separately, or it can be given combined on the same day as well. So it's up to you. It's about how the comfort with the duration of the paper is. So FICO optics has just 60 single based answers, and it's about 1.5 hours. And it's a single paper, a single MCQ based and single based answers. And here the mode of the exam is written. When I say written, you go to the center and you have an OMR booklet that you get, and you mark it on the paper. So that's how the exam is for FICO. And so that's what I mean by the location at designated centers. So again, for all of this, you'll have to go back to the ICO website. It is very well clearly given about where the centers it keeps changing. So usually it's usually happens twice in a year, that is in April and in October, twice in a year. And you have to, again, like FRCS, there is no calendar for the entire year. So you have to keep checking. They keep updating with their dates for these exams. And you have to look up, keep updating with the websites. So the detailed syllabus for optics is the same. It includes physical and geometrical optics, lenses, prisms, mirrors. And these are the most favorite areas in terms of all of the FRCOphth, FRCS, and FICO as well. And a little bit of lasers and optical instruments and low vision aids comes under optics as well. And the basic sciences will be about your general anatomy and pathology and physiology as well. So this is a 120 MCQ based for 3 hours, and it's a single for 2 hours. Sorry, that's a typo. Single paper. And so you hear the same thing. You have to go to the designated centers and you write it in the OMR booklet. So this is the format of this FICO. And usually this is priced around, optics exam separately is priced around 40,000, and the clinical science is around 80,000. And this is if you take separately. So they have a package where if you give this exam on the same day, they have a reduced discounted price around 90,000 for both combined. And again, the fee is variable here. They take into consideration about the country where you're from. So once you actually register, make an account, register for the exam, and give you your details, they will calculate the exam fee and give you the fee at the end of the payment. So there is no fixed the price for this exam. So it depends on the payment portal based on the country where you're sitting the exam. So the closest exam for FICO is on April 21st, and the last date to register is 31st of Jan. So if anybody is planning to register for the exam, please go and have a look at the International Council of Ophthalmology's website and get yourself registered soon. So now coming to the textbooks, what are the resources? So like you saw in the previous slides, so pretty much FICO optics and basic sciences, FRCS part 1 or FRCOphth part 1 pretty much have the same syllabus, but the depth of the knowledge is what varies in these exams. So FRCOphth is the most difficult one. FRCS part 1 would be the second, and FICO will be the third, so in the difficulty level. So the references and the sources and all of these are pretty much the same. Just the caliber of the exam and the difficulty of the exam is what matters, and the depth at which you have to practice and the depth at which you have to study will slightly vary if based on the exams that you're giving. So coming to the textbooks, so please have a pen and paper and take down all of this. So this is pretty much, it's very informative. So the textbooks for optics. So Clinical Optics by Elkington is the Bible for optics and ophthalmology. So the conceptual questions are directly worded from this book. So you will have to go cover to cover for this book. And all the optics, the concept base, the ray diagrams, the prisms, and everything is asked directly from this book, our Clinical Optics. So this is, but mind you, this is just the conceptual questions that I am saying, which probably will be 10 questions or 10 to 15 questions maximum. But the remaining questions out of the 45 questions that I mentioned earlier, needs to be supplemented. So that will be your problem solving questions and application based questions. So all of those will require supplementation. So the next textbook is your Snell's Anatomy. So similar to the Clinical Optics Elkington, Snell's Anatomy is the Bible for the anatomy questions in ophthalmology. So directly the measurements and if there is any doubt that you have or any MCQ book where you don't think the answer is right, please refer back to Snell's, because this is the reference book that they use here. And so this is pretty much a detailed, graphically very well represented and an interesting book. So please go back and have a look at the Snell's Anatomy. Then coming to the other two books, these two books are what the trainees here kind of use. So that is the Forrester, the Eye by Forrester, and Oxford Basic Science textbook. So this is actually for the ophthalmic specialty training textbook, Basic Sciences. This is what they use here for the in addition to the Elkingtons and Snell's, and this is what the trainees here use. So Oxford Basic Science textbook. So these textbooks are baseline fundamentals. It is a must that you do this. Makes life a lot more easier if you know your basics through this. So apart from this, textbooks like Adler's Physiology, Duke Elder Refraction. For pathology, there is Yanov, and genetics and microbiology from American Academy of Ophthalmology, the newer edition ones. So yeah, so this is like a library, or even a library of textbooks that you need to prepare for these exams. But how to get about this, I will come to the end, because I don't think it's possible for all of us to go through all of these textbooks, which are probably like 1,000 pages from cover to cover, just to prepare for this exam. So I will come to the study strategy in a while. So next, coming to the MCQ books. So those were the textbooks. MCQ books for practice. So Oxford MCQ, this simulate the exam pattern pretty much. So I myself have done all of these MCQ books. So I will highly recommend all of these books to anybody giving FRCOphth or FRCS or FICO as well. So the Oxford MCQs simulate the exam pretty much closest to any of the books, and the explanations that they give along with the answers are good. So they make it high yield. And Ferris question bank and textbook, this is a combined, it's more of a question bank, but the explanations are such that it makes it a textbook. So they build the theory around it, but all of these are pretty much outdated. So it's around like 2014 or 2016 based, but you can build the fundamentals, but there has been a change to the exams questions that has been asked. So yeah, you can use it for practice, but you have to keep it in mind that these are pretty outdated books, but definitely is a must to solve it. Then coming to the Chua Optics and Basic Sciences. So this is two separate books, Chua Optics and Basic Sciences. So there are there are around 100 questions. So you can solve these two and build a practice for these. Then Nikki Hall by 400 single best answer questions. So this is also pretty extensive, but this Nikki Hall especially, you have to take it as a pinch of salt, because this is pretty old, and do not completely rely on the information given, because a lot of things are updated now. So these are the MCQ books and to refer, which is a must to do. So now coming to the exam strategy. So like I said, so optics has a maximum advantage, maximum weightage. 45, even in FRCS and in FICU has a whole new, whole separate segment for optics questions. So it holds a lot of weightage. As ophthalmologists, we are expected to know all of the optics and the instruments and everything. So off lately, we have seen a trend towards improving the huge proportion of questions going to the statistics and epidemiology. So that is also a change which are not covered in a lot of these books, because none of them give importance to statistics and epidemiology. It was not of that importance up until recent times. So you can see that anatomy and optics hold around like 70 questions, which 70 questions or even more actually. So which is like around half of the exam. So a lot of people have the mindset that I can just do anatomy and optics and I will be through. That must be enough. And they let go of pharmacology, pathology, physiology, let loose of those topics. So this is the first mistake that a candidate does. So let me tell you that out of the 45 questions of optics, getting all right is not possible. So getting all right is not possible. So even if you work very hard on it, so you might get somewhere close to it, but it is at a cost of the other topics, other concepts, which would have fetched you a lot more marks than for the effort you have put to get that all of those 45 questions correct. So the other topics will be compromised. So what the exam strategy, the first and important thing for the exam strategy in this exam is to balance your preparation. So we often forget that our aim is to clear the exam and not to do a PhD in one section of the exam. So a lot of us get lost in this process where we try to make 100% of one section and we lose out the game. So there is no end to the syllabus. Like you can see pathology, pharmacology, genetics, and all of these there is no end to the syllabus. And there are multiple resources available online for free. Textbooks and MCQ books are unlimited. You will find hundreds of these resources online. And definitely they have a lot of content. But the question is that content relevant to the exam that you're giving? Is it of use? Or are you just overburdening yourself unnecessarily with these unnecessary MCQ books and textbooks? And so this is the same thing that happened with me. I kept downloading PDFs and storing them, and kept increasing my stress, that it just keeps heaping over, and you actually deviate from what is actually assessed and asked in the exams. So doesn't matter if you're studying all night with like 15 coffee shots, or you're losing sleep and taking leave from your work. Doesn't matter how many hours you put in, but if you're not putting your efforts in the right direction, none of the hard work matters. So that is what you have to first put up your mind about these FRCS RCO exams, that it is not like Indian exams where you write a 10 marker and the more you learn, the more details you do well in the exam. It is not like that. So it's about the strategy is about smart studying or a targeted studying. So we as professionals, we do not need to spend 18 hours a day or 6 months or 1 year like our NEET preparation practicing MCQs and doing all-nighters to just for these exams. So the whole strategy lies in understanding the pattern of the exam expectations, and putting the efforts in those areas only. So making it more useful, and which makes things much more significantly easier, and we can manage our work and our other responsibilities alongside with preparing for these exams. So that is the whole goal of the exam strategy that has to be there. So like I would like to give you an example. Like in anatomy, there are few favorite areas like facial nerve or lens anatomy. And so we as ophthalmologists would probably go digging into third nerve and sixth nerve and all of these things and just brush through seventh cranial nerve. But no, they ask everything in detail about seventh cranial nerve. So that is where your efforts have to be in. So, and optics also, like prisms hold a lot of importance. The problems and the whole refraction involved in the prisms, and the details about different kinds of the Wollaston prism, Fresnel's prism. So what are the differences? So they have a classic questions. They have a typical classic questions and classic areas that they like to examine. So that these topics have to be well versed. In micro, they ask about the components of each stains, about the staining, about the different stains for different microorganisms. In pathology, they give the images of the slides and of definite pathologies that they definitely want the candidates to know. So it's more about, instead of putting your hard work in knowing everything about all of this syllabus, it's more about trying to know how the examiners work, so that you definitely clear. It's not about acing, or it's not about like knowing everything about all of these syllabus that is there. Just the whole point is to clear the exam. So to trick the examiner, know how their mindset work is the way to go. So these topics, like I mentioned, makes a big chunk of the exam. And in every sitting, all of these are without miss, they are repeated. So you cannot miss these questions. If you miss these questions, then it is game over. Definitely you will not clear it in the first go. So, and these basic topics which are repeatedly asked, if you build a fundamental in these basics, then the new questions which are asked in each exam, of course they will ask new questions, so they are usually around the topics that they like. So you can build your concepts in those topics, and you can manage to answer the new topics as well. And then there are some difficult questions which are, to be honest, it cannot be solved. They are nothing not to be worried about. So the baseline is that you have a strong hold of these commonly asked questions. So you're halfway through the exam, and then you can get to the rest with your hard work in and around these topics that are important. So there were no resources available when I gave my exam 2 years ago, and it was a lot of struggle to get minimal guidance and like to know what the other components of this exam, go to the website, check the exam stats and syllabus. But now it's easily available through like webinars like this. So it took weeks to like scroll and through the websites, through Telegram groups, to WhatsApp groups, approaching people, getting together this resources, and getting oriented to what the exam actually is. So these are all made so readily available. You don't have to worry about these now. So it's a big advantage that you have. So considering how expensive these exams are, you have to spend on the right kind of platforms to make your pathway easier. And with the increasing number of candidates, I clearly showed you in the previous the statistics that it's literally doubled. So now, because more people are wanting to give FRCOphth, more people are wanting to give FRCS, even to leave India. So the exam competition is rising, exam standards are rising. So with all of this, a guided preparation is what is required, is the need of the hour. And definitely it will be easier. It will be easier, as well as it will be cheaper than repaying for the exams. So the cost of these exams are very, very high. So instead of paying again for the exam, it's better that we put in the effort in the right direction. And definitely guided preparation will be required with the rising standards that has been going on. So this brings me to the main part of our webinar. So we PrepMedico are opening registrations for our 6-week high yield course, which will target part 1 FRCOphth, part 1 FRCS, and FICO optics and basic sciences as well. So the components of this course will include, so we are going to have, it's a unique kind of a course that we have planned and we have designed, keeping in mind the difficulties that the Indian graduates and the Indian candidates are having. So the weekend, we are having it as a weekend lectures. So these are very high lectures. So based on the exam recalls and previous candidate experiences. And these lectures will be around 2 to 3 hours. So, and mind you that we are not teaching ophthalmology. We are not teaching ophthalmology, anatomy, microbiology in these sessions. We are not going to be teaching, but these lectures are just rapid sessions of making you acquainted to the favorite areas of the exams where you have to put in work. We will be practicing questions and building concepts in the favorite areas. We cannot so there is a, like I said, the syllabus is a lot. So we will be focusing on the most important high yield areas which will fetch you enough marks, and make sure that you clear it in one attempt. So there is a certain pattern in these exams, like I was mentioning, where repeatedly the same questions are asked and around the same concepts in every exam. So a targeted high yield session is what we are planning to clear these exams in one go, and these are definite marks that you can get. So each lecture will also be updated. We'll also have an updated high yield MCQs per lecture, around 100. So we have planned for 6 lectures spanned from early February to early of March to fit into the FRC of part 1, FRCS part 1, and FICO, the first sessions of 2026. So this 6 weekends will have 6 high yield lectures around 2 to 3 hours, and each lecture will be followed by a question bank which will be handed over to you, which is updated based on the recent recalls and the changing trends of the MCQs that has been happening. Along with this, we are also giving access to our library. So I can see a lot of questions on the message about where we can find these books. So this library will be one place where you can get all these textbooks, the MCQ books, which is to be added on as a supplementary to your study material. Along with that, you will have recording sessions of our classes too in this library, which will be made available. Along with this, there will be a mock exam at the end of the 6 lectures on our app, which will simulate your exam, a time-tested and similar to the exam, how it is based on 180 questions, and on our app. So to give the mock exam, to give the feel of how the real exam day would be. So this is a very good exercise before you give your exam, because your exam cold feet can make you like a person who has never prepared for the exam before. So giving a mock exam prior to this will definitely be of use. So this is a unique hybrid course, I would say, that we are bringing up, which is not available anywhere, especially to the international medical graduates like us. So with high yield lectures focusing on the areas that are frequently asked, along with the question banks and library as well, with all the resources available for you in one place. Also, our team is the team we have here is our staff, experienced staff from UK and India. From UK and India, we are available 24/7 to clear any doubts. So if you have any questions, you cannot solve any questions, so you can just ask us, and we will be happy to help. And over these 6 weeks, we will outline the study plan for you every week, what is to be supplemented, which area to be focused on. And over the 6 weeks, you will be well prepared to give the exam. And So we are going to have a methodical approach where, we are going to use the textbooks that are recommended, which I mentioned. So that is going to be kept as an outline, and we will cover the high yield topics of each chapter from this recommended textbooks itself, so that we don't wander away. So you also know that what is being covered, and you are methodically finishing the syllabus before your exam as well. And we will discuss how to go about the exam, some tips and tricks to finish well within time, how to solve the problems quickly, the shortcut methods, which are definitely very important and which a lot of us didn't have access to before this. But facing these difficulties, we actually came up with this course to cater to the needs of the Indian graduates, because these exams are very difficult from the exams we have given before. So yeah, this will be we will guide you throughout the journey. So with the right guidance and planning, you can actually clear all the steps in the first attempt, and you don't have to go through the fuss of collecting the material and asking out for the recent recalls and question banks. All of these will be made available to you. And this is one of a kind course. Would definitely want you all to have a look at it. So you can we are opening our registrations from tomorrow. So we are so individual lectures, each of these 6 lectures that I mentioned is priced around £50, which is around 6,000 INR. But if you are taking the individual course, you will not have any access to the recordings for 3 months. But if you take the whole course, you will have access to all of these along with the library access, and for 3 months as well, the recordings for 3 months. And we are also having a special offer of early bird registrations, where the first candidates will have the access to the whole course around at around £149. So please enroll. And this is a unique hybrid course with lectures and question bank. This cannot it's one of the kind, first and one of a kind. And we will help you to prep smart. And like I said, targeted studying and smart studying is the way to go for these exams. And having this course enrolled, you can ensure that you can go to work and do your all responsibilities, and you don't have to dedicate 2 months or 6 months of your precious time to for these exams. Just weekends and a couple of practices, and we will outline how to go about it, so that you can manage everything in one go. And this journey doesn't seem as hard as it was for us. And so that you don't go ahead, so that you don't have the same pitfalls that we had. So make use of this opportunity. So this is one of a kind course targeted for the Indian graduates itself. And please please enroll, and we can begin our journey together. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Rachna, for your elaborate overview about the exams as well as the course. You can probably go through the chat questions from one by one, because I just joined now. I could not see the chat from the beginning. You can stop presenting, okay, and you can go through the questions, and you can ask others if they have any questions as well. Yeah, you can go through the questions and then can respond, starting from the first question if there is anything.
Okay, so I see a lot of questions. Okay, first question by Himari. So is it difficult for postgraduate at the end of first year? So what I would say is no. This is the best time to give part 1. This is exactly what I did. So at the end of first year, sorry, my bad. I thought it's the end of post-graduation. So I would suggest that it's better that you wait until your 3 years are done, because this is I would ask FICO, optics and basic sciences, you can probably go ahead, definitely. But FRCOphth, I would suggest you take it after your post-graduation, because you need to have an overall knowledge about the ophthalmology and the depth in which they ask is really difficult. But FICO optics and basic sciences, definitely yes, it's a plus point. If you take it, it will help you with your FRCOphth if you're planning to take it after your post graduation also. So you can easily clear FRCOphth later on if you have given your FICO. So at the end of first year is a good time to give your optics and basic sciences, provided that you work hard and you study, and yeah, that's cater to the needs of the exam. So I hope I've cleared the doubt, Himasri. And next question is Varshini. Is the number of attempt affects the priority list to get a job later? So no, there is the number of attempts do not affect your priority. If your number of, however, you have to finish the exam in the provided number of attempts. That's the only thing. After that, you won't be able to give the exam itself. So get a number of attempts doesn't matter. It's just that financially it will matter. So that's all. Yeah. Then Miti Bhatt, could you please explain the path for FRCS through ICO as well? So I think we have detailedly discussed about this in our previous session. So you can go back and check the recording of this session. But to clear your doubt, if you have cleared your part A and part B, the optics and clinical sciences, and the advanced exam as well, you are eligible to give the last exam, FRCS part 3, if you have cleared your FICO part 1 and part 2. So you can, that is possible. But if you would want to know more in detail, we have our previous session recording available, where Dr. Sonali, who is an FRCS Glasgow, so she has completed hers, and she has explained all of this regarding FRCS in a previous recording. Next is by Dr. Vijay. Can we get previous year question bank? Please share relevant at the end of the session in the WhatsApp group. So there is not a previous, that's what this is what was being discussed. So the question bank, including with the previous year questions, will be made available in our app. So where we will be giving question banks at the end of the lectures. So to get access to it, please enroll in our course, and you will get the lectures as well as the question bank. So which is like a previous year question bank itself, based on recent recalls. Share the relevant links on the Telegram at the end of the session. Okay, then he must. Any difference between FRCO and FICO matters during the job application? So this question, again, we have discussed in detail in our previous recording, so previous session. So please go back. I will share the link again. Please go back and have a look at that talk where we discussed about FRCO versus FICS, FICO versus FRCS. So with FICO, you cannot, just to answer your question here, with FICO, you cannot get a job in the UK. It is just a degree, but FRCO is a requirement to be a consultant and get the fellowship jobs here. So yes, FICO is just a degree that you can, you will have. Ali Khalid, what is the syllabus of FRCS Glasgow? I think that was discussed in the presentation, that it will cover anatomy, optics, pathology, the same thing as FRCOphth, pathology, microbiology, genetics, statistics, and a small chunk of, a small part of the syllabus includes general emergency trauma medicine like sepsis and anaphylaxis, etc., which is in addition to the usual anat, embryo, and optics. So one more question: is it useful only if we already read once? Himasri, can you please elaborate on what exactly do you mean by this? Is it useful only if we already read once? So I will be happy to answer if you could elaborate on that, please. Dr. Vijay, what's the age limit for FRCS ophthalmology? So there is no age limit to give the exam. It's just a minimum limit of 2 years of ophthalmology that you need to have. You can give the exam in any age, that doesn't matter. Dr. Priya, will a similar course be available in August, September for October candidates? Yes, definitely. We are planning to have a calendar of our own, to have the courses for before every sitting. So it will be available. So this is targeted for the April and April, March, April sessions, but we will definitely have a course for August, September. So in fact, for all the sittings, we are planning to have the course. So is it better, this is by Dr. Meghna. Ma'am, is it better if we apply for the course after we study all the materials once, or can we apply irrespective of which stage of preparation? So Dr. Meghna, so this will definitely help with your preparation. You don't have to study all the materials. That's exactly what I said. Don't have to study everything there is. So you can enroll in our course. So we will outline the study plan for you. So for example, the first session we are having is on optics. So in optics, we are planning to cover the recommended textbook of Elkington, cover to cover. But we are sweeping across the most important areas of what is going to be assessed, discuss how to solve the problems and what are the most commonly asked questions, and give you tips and tricks of how to solve faster. So you know the outline of the optics now. How the entire Elkington, we will be covering the entire Elkington at the most important parts of Elkington, and then at the end we will give you like 100 MCQ questions for optics. So after that Sunday, you go back, you solve those 100 MCQs of the questions, and then you can supplement what we have discussed with the other syllabus, that is other materials that are available. So this will be to cover your the difficult questions or the new bouncer questions. So you can cover this over the entire week. So what is most important for you, which will definitely be asked in the exams, and which is most commonly assessed in the exams, will be covered in 2 to 3 hours for you on a Sunday. So I would suggest you apply irrespective of which stage of preparation you are, because through this you will get a direction in which to prepare. You won't be lost. So, and you won't waste your time in revising the unnecessary topics. And so you will, and definitely you will finish it way before the exam. We have planned it in such a way that you have enough time for revision as well, and we are finishing it way before the exams, 1 month prior to 4 weeks before the exam actually is. So we have a question from Dr. Sneha. PMQ means MBBS degree certificate or KMC certificate. So this is a degree certificate that I'm talking about. They want to see about the degree. Yeah. What is the key difference between FRCOphth versus FRCS by Dr. Meghna? Again, Dr. Meghna, we have had a previous session of 2 hours where we discussed about the ophthalmology pathway in UK, FRCOphth, FRCS, and FICO, and what is the difference between all the three. And this is available as a recording. So I will share the link for the same, and you can have a look at that. So to give a gist of it, to answer the question for now, FRCOphth is a licensing exam where FRCOphth and FRCS both are GMC, will give you a GMC registration, but FRCOphth is an exam which is more difficult than FRCS. But if you're planning to settle down in the UK, be a consultant and long-term plans in the UK, or if you are planning to join, like go to Singapore or Australia or any Middle East countries, so FRCOphth would be the preference because it holds a lot more weightage and is a lot more important than FRCS. So FRCS Glasgow or Edinburgh is good to just have to get a GMC registration and just a job in the UK. Or you hold as an honorary degree. But FRCOphth is the game-changing degree for any ophthalmologist, opening up doors in a lot of places. So how to subscribe? So Dr. Ines Chetab, I will be sending the link from where you can enroll into the course. Can we give another question by Dr. Sneha? Can we give FRCOphth going to designated center? I'm sorry, Dr. Sneha, but no, the FRCS ophthalmology going to the designated center. No, I think it's a locations based center. I think FICO is a designated center. Yeah. Dr. Varshini, thank you. I finished my MS 3 months ago, but since I need to prepare optics a lot, should I go ahead with April exam or should I take more time to prepare and give October FRCOphth exam? So, if you enroll with us, then definitely April exam is a go because we will definitely cover whatever optics you have to cover in that one lecture will make you a lot more confident because we are here to guide you. But if you are doing all alone, then based on your prior knowledge, it will depend on your prior knowledge because it takes a lot of time to finish the whole syllabus, and you can take, in which case you can give it in October. But if you plan to enroll, and it's going to be a very concentrated, focused lecture, which will be enough to get you through the exam. So if you do enroll with us, please go ahead with the April exam. You have more than enough time because we are going to finish the whole of the syllabus in 6 weeks with 1 week, with 1 month of revision time available for you. And during that 1 month of the revision time, we are also open to have a one-on-one revision revision sessions as well for the candidates who are interested. So it will definitely be worth while to go ahead with the April exam. Dr. Priya, can we get jobs or fellowships in the UK with FRCS Glasgow? Again, reiterating, we have discussed a lot of this in our previous session, which is recorded, and I will definitely share it with you guys. But to answer the question for now, you will get a job for FRCS Glasgow, but it's like a registrar level job, I would say, and it will definitely be very difficult for you to get a job. It won't be as simple as if you had FRCOphth with you, because you are competing with the trainees having FRCOphth or international medical graduates having FRCOphth for the same post. They will definitely consider FRCOphth. So you will find it difficult to get a job, or fellowships. Definitely not. A fellowship requires FRCOphth. But for any job, registrar level job, FRCS is valid. But if there is another candidate with FRCO, they will definitely prefer an FRCO over FRCS. So the course provided here, ma'am, is it useful only if we already read? No, I wouldn't say it is useful only if you have already read. So what I meant by we are not going to teach is I will not describe, like if I'm teaching anatomy. So if we are teaching anatomy, we won't describe that, okay, orbit is like a pyramid, a truncated pyramid, it has superior orbital fissure, it has inferior orbital fissure. So we are not going to be doing that. So we will be focusing only on, like, okay, the structures passing through superior orbital fissure. So that is what I mean. So you basic fundamental knowledge, I think as professionals and as MS or DNB ophthalmologists, we do have the baseline knowledge. So what this course is offering is we are priming you or refining your knowledge to cater to the exam only. That is what I meant. So your baseline knowledge is much more than enough. So there is nothing as if you have to be already read to come to this exam. No, we are directing you to know these must knows and where you have to actually put your efforts. That's all. Because I'm at the end of the first year postgraduate. So if you're planning to give the FICO, optics and basic sciences, you don't have to read it. You can join in with the enroll with us. So optics, it will be of much more basic level than it will be more advanced level than FICO. So we will be discussing about the basic concepts and then getting into it. So you will benefit in optics and in basic clinical science as well. So you can opt for it, and you will be very well prepared before the exam comes in. So you have a window period of 1 month to add on to the preparation or the base that we set. So I think you can enroll. I'll send you the link, so you can go through the whole of the brochure and check if you are really wanting to enroll, and then you can take a call. Is it okay if we completely rely on the app, or do we need to club other sources as well? So about the same thing. So when we are going through the lectures, so when we are delivering the lectures, we will definitely inform you that, okay, this is something that you'll need to go through in one text. If it requires supplementation, we will mention, go back and check in this source. So most of it, I will say 60 to 70% of it, it's impossible to cover 100% of the syllabus. Like you all know, it's not possible. So wherever possible, we will direct you to supplement it from a source that we recommend. So you can go back, and the next week, which is for your preparation, when we give the MCQs, you can solve the MCQs and you can supplement it with the information that we have given. So that's how we are planning to do it. So it is not possible to cover 100% in a lecture from 2 to 3. It's a rapid, high yield course. So the following week, you can supplement the information that we have given with the other uncovered topics, which are less important. So Dr. Divyashri, what is the minimum duration of prep required to pass FRCOphth Part 1? So this is a very vague question, I would say. So it is completely dependent on your knowledge of anatomy, optics, and where you stand in terms of preparation. So for someone, so I would say that for me, after, so I just gave my exam after my post-graduation. So I was well prepared with anatomy and with everything because of my MS exam. So I had to just supplement it with optics and pathology and the remaining things, and even statistics we were well versed. So it didn't require much time, but it was a struggle. So it depends on how well versed you are, thorough you are. So if you have no idea about optics, if you have no idea about the anatomy, if your fundamentals are not strong enough, then I would say it requires a lot of time, because it's a very difficult exam, with the international medical graduates having just 20% of passing rate, like I mentioned. So you'll have to self-reflect in knowing how far you are along the race. Yeah. So Dr. Sneha, when is the course starting and how many days it will go on and how many hours per day? Can you please elaborate? Okay, so the course is starting on 1st of February. So we are having it on every weekend. That is a Sunday. In between, we are having it on a Friday. So I will be sharing all the details with you. So we are having once a week session. So it's a lectures. There are 6 lectures, and so 6 weekends, and each lecture will be around 2 hours to 3 hours. That's it, and it will go on for this one, and it ends with a mock exam at the end of the. We will be releasing the dates for that as well. So it will end with a mock exam, and we will be giving you MCQs, 100 MCQs after every lecture course. And over the week, you will be expected to solve them and supplement your personal self-reading on to the topics which we have discussed, which we will be discussing. Yeah. Dr. Preeti Sihag, is there any such course for FRCOphth Part 2 written? So we are going to be launching for Part 2 written as well. So Part 2 written happens only twice a year. So one is in July and the other one is in December. So we will be launching a course for Part 2 written as well for this July as well and December. So which will be scheduled like which will be released 2 months prior to the exam. So yeah, please stay tuned. I will forward the links once we plan and once we release the course. Recorded session available if it is difficult to attend due to duties. Dr. Rihana, yes, if you, so the recordings will be available if you enroll for the whole of the course. That is all the 6 courses, then you will be entitled to the library as well as the recorded sessions and the question banks and everything. However, if you opt for individual lecture sessions, then the recording won't be available. So if you can have the access to the recordings and view it in your own time, along with the question banks and the libraries with all the resources, if you take the entire course. So Obaid Khan, will the classes be live classes as I'm on duty? I miss one of the jokes if I join. So Dr. Obaid Khan, it will be live classes. It will be an interactive classes with discussions, but it will be recorded as well. So the recordings will be made available. However, like I mentioned, you have to enroll for the whole of the course. The entire course, which will entitle you to the recordings, and that will be available for 3 months. So the library with all these resources and the recordings will be available for 3 months for you to give the exam. Whether to give an exam before or after completing the fellowship in India in any particular specialty, and whether it has any impact on the job package. So whether to give an exam before or after completing the fellowship. So this is a dilemma that even I had. So I chose to do a residency while giving the exam because I know that the fellowship is really taxing, and these exams are very demanding. It requires a lot of preparation. So with no leaves and the erratic work hours that the fellowship has in India, so I knew that I couldn't compromise on the exam. So it depends on what your long-term plans are, what your whole bigger picture plans are. So if you're planning to head to the UK and practice here and do train here, then I would say just do a residency or any job, and then give the FRCOphth simultaneously and ensure that you clear it in easily and do it. But if you're doing fellowship, it will definitely be difficult. I would suggest you give either before or after completing the fellowship, but during the fellowship is a bit of a task. And no, the fellowships are not recognized in the UK. Your MS is ophthalmology, DNB ophthalmology, and any of your fellowship is not recognized in the UK. They will all of these ophthalmology degrees are just considered as experience in ophthalmology. It's not a degree. So it's just considered as experience. So you have 3 years of MS or DNB, and then 2 years of your fellowship is just going to be as 4 years of ophthalmology experience. So there is no point in doing a fellowship thinking that it's going to have an impact here. You are going to be taken at the same junior level with or without the fellowship. It is not recognized. If someone is not able to attend the weekend lectures on time, will it be available later on? Yes, Dr. Afreen, I think I have answered your question, that it will be available as a recorded session if you enroll for the entire course. Dr. Kirti, if we miss any of the Sunday sessions after registration, yes, again, the same question. It is a live interactive session, but the recording will definitely be available. But this is only on enrolling for the entire course. Yeah, the whole of the course, and then you will have the access to the library with the resources and the recordings. If we sign up, do we still need to study optics, or your lecture is enough? Dr. Ines, like I said, we will be discussing the high yield questions, the fundamental concepts, and what is repeatedly asked. But you will have to supplement it with your own self-reading and keep solving, because practice makes a man perfect. So you do have to work on your own. But these lectures will make things easier, and it will definitely help with your revisions. And because it's high yield, you know which topics you need to dig in further, because it is not possible to cover 100% of the syllabus in 2 hours. And more than 2 hours, none of us will be interested in attending the lectures, because our attention span is cannot be more than 2 hours. So we will cover everything high important hot topics in this 2 to 3 hours, and discuss how to solve problems and what questions, and explain the concepts. But practicing will require your efforts too, based on how clear you are in your knowledge. So with Dr. Vijay, post FRCOphth, in what position will the job be offered, as it will not include a specialization? The posts here are all starting it's a trainee level job, or a junior registrar level job, or it's like a fellow, a senior clinical fellow. So there are a lot of different terms that they use here. So we will not get a consultant level job. So that has a different, it's a one whole lecture. It was another webinar in itself. So we are not going to be entering as a consultant. We are going to be entering as a trainee. So we'll get the junior level jobs, the fellowships, and the trainee level jobs. If Middle East is my target, will FRCS Ophtha versus a vitreoretinal fellowship from India, which has higher chances of landing the job? Middle East do recognize FRCS Ophtha as they do prefer FRC. Sorry, that is FRCS. Okay, if Middle East is my target, then I don't think there is much of a difference in FRCS and doing a fellowship. So if you're FRCS ophthalmology and then you don't know how to operate a retinal surgery, so I don't think you're going to get a VR position in the Middle East, irrespective of holding the FRCS degree or without it. So in Middle East, you can't go for a training. If it's Middle East that you're targeting, you can't go for a training. So you have to do a VR fellowship from India, and then then try to get into the Middle East. So this FRCS versus the options that you're giving is for what I discussed is with respect to UK only, because in UK they do not value the fellowships. So you are going to be trained here after you come, and only the exam holds value here to be eligible for that fellowship. Dr. Narasimha, can I take FICO and FRCOphth together with one preparation? Is there any advantage in taking FICO prior to FRCOphth? Like in case if we take FICO, we can directly move to final step of FRCS. In the same way, is there any link between both the exams? So unfortunately, no. Any FICO doesn't give you the all the steps of FRCOphth needs to be cleared separately. So having cleared some step of FICO doesn't give you any leeway to skip any exams of FRCO. And so FICO and FRCOphth are two different exams. So FICO is just a degree, whereas FRCOphth is a licensing exam, much difficult, much expensive, and much more important. So if you have any more doubts, please, I will send the link to our recording of our previous session on the group. Please have a look at it. So our entire session last time, which was over 2 hours, was on the same topic. So I'm sure that you'll benefit from it. Dr. Sneha, is there an option of going to designated center instead of giving the exam from home to give FRCOphth exam, since I'll be staying in UK during April? So it is, I mean, in UK as well, you can sit and give the exam at home. It's not that in India it is given at home. Anywhere throughout the world, FRCOphth Part 1 is given online from their own locations. Can I give FICO 1 and 2 with refraction during postgraduate and directly go to FRCOphth Part 2 after? So, Dr. Himasri, I think I have answered this question already. So, none of the steps of FICO or FRCS will exempt you from any of the exams of FRCOphth. FRCOphth is a highly standardizing exam, so there is no shortcuts to it. You have to clear all the 4 exams individually. Always your classes will be on Sundays. So like I mentioned, 2 of the lecture classes, one is scheduled on a Friday, one is scheduled on a Monday. It's because of the dynamics of the staff, actually. So even if it is not available, I mean, if you're not able to attend, we are going to be recording it. So please enroll for the entire course, and you can have the recordings and you can view it at your own time, revise it, replay it, and revise it at your own time. Can we aim to give, Dr. Divyashri, can we aim to give Part 2 FRCF during August with this April Part 1? So we'll have to check with the registration opening and the closing dates, because to register for your Part 2 FRCOphth written, you need to clear the FRCOphth Part 1, and the result has to be updated on your account, only after which you will be able to register for your Part 2 written. So for someone who wants to, Dr. Obaid Khan, for someone who wants to practice in Gulf, is it beneficial if one just clears FRCF only, or have to practice in the UK to get the actual gain in the CV? So one has to clear FRCOPT and have some NHS experience or practice in the UK to gain something, to gain in CV. So just FRCOPT and FRC or FRCS won't have any value. They value NHS experience in addition to the degrees. I have applied for Dr. Esther. I have applied for FICO, but my target is Singapore or Middle East. Do I also need to give FRCOPT as well? Yes. So FRCOPT is what will be required to what will be required, and what is recognized. Definitely suggest to take FRCOPT. FICO will only give you opportunities. There are certain ICO fellowships, so which are only for 3 months or 6 months, and you can just do these fellowships for 2-3 months or 6 months and then come back to India. So nothing more than the ICO fellowships via FICO. However, if you want to work there, do a long-term job, anywhere you go, FRCOPT is the way. Dr. Meghna, is there any usefulness in doing FRCOPT if you're planning to settle in India? Should we still go ahead with FRCOPT or just write FRCS or FRCO? So what I would suggest is, if you are planning to settle in India, you can either give FRCOPT or FRCS. It doesn't really make a difference, but I think it's an overall changing perspective that FRCOPT is the standard. So FRCS and FICO is not really required. It's not, unless you want to collect degrees and make it bigger. So unless that, I don't think it has any meaning to giving FRCS, FICO. You can just go for the highest standard exam, that is FRCOPT, which is of the globally recognized and highly valued. So even if you're settling in India, so it's a personal choice actually. If you want to give if you just want an easy exam and just get an additional degree, FRCS can be opted for. However, if you value the triumph of the exam, so then FRCOPT is a way to go. Your take on someone who wants to work in the UK for short term, maybe 2 to 3 years, which is the best pathway? Will FRCS take less time compared to FRCOPT to get GMC? So FRCS is just 3 exams. FRCOPT is 4 exams. So that itself brings in a big time difference. So to clear it. But if you're coming to UK, if you're planning to work even for 2 to 3 years, finding a job and a fellowship is very, very difficult if you do not have FRCOPT. So having FRCOPT itself, and it's you are competing with the ophthalmology trainees here. So with 7 years of their training and FRCOPT, so as it is difficult. So if you do FRCS and come here, it's going to make you further down the list as priority to get the jobs. So I would say if you are planning to come to UK, definitely opt for FRCOPT. I know it is a little more difficult and it takes a lot more time, but it's worth it if you will make a lot of things easier if you come here to the UK. Dr. Rishika Saharoy, will question bank be available after registering for one live class for that respective seminar topic? So unfortunately, Dr. Rishika, no. We will the question bank will be available for that particular seminar topic. So we are going to release the questions for that lecture, but your recordings and the library, all of this won't be available for if you register for one lecture class. So you have to take the whole of the course to be made available for the library and the recording sessions. Dr. Anjali, I think this is the last one. Can I register for FRCOPT 1 course today in early bird? Yes, definitely. Just message me, give me a ping, and I will put your name across for the early bird registrations. So like I said, it's just for the first 10 candidates. So I will have a check on if how many candidates have messaged regarding the early bird registrations and get back. So the first 10 candidates will get the early bird registration. Does Dr. Burhan, Does age matter for getting a job or fellowship in UK after FRCOphth? So there's no age is not the limit for getting a job or a fellowship. So after FRCoff, it's about landing with a job. Landing with a job, it doesn't matter with the age. If your qualifications are good enough, if you have like enough publications, and if you have done enough in that particular subspecialty, you have. So the every job or a fellowship that they post in the vacancy that they post, they have some criteria, essential criteria and desirable criteria. So if you meet all of these criteria, then you will get the job. The age doesn't matter. So Dr. Sneha has a question. Is it necessary to give all FRC Opthal to get a GMC in UK? Yes, of course. All the exams, all the 4 exams are required to be cleared. So you will not have a post-nominal of FRC of the London without clearing all the exams. So yes, you have to clear all the exams. Only then you will get GMC in the UK. So anybody has any other question? Okay, we have one more from Dr. Meghna. If we are planning for October session, your suggestion should we enroll for the course now or before the exam? I would suggest just enroll for the course just before the exam. We are going to have another session before the October session, 2 months, similar to this, with 1 month of revision gap. And so we will start 2 months before the exam. So definitely enroll during that time. That will be beneficial. So kindly please message me on WhatsApp to get enrolled. So the early bird is only for the first 10 candidates, and I will just have a look on who has messaged me earlier and then get back to you. Anybody has any other queries? Okay, then I think that was about our session today. Thank you all for joining in, and on a Sunday. Please note that our registrations will be open from tomorrow for our FRC of Part 1 6-week course. Only the first 10 candidates will be having the early bird registrations. Please have a note of that. I will look at the chat, and whoever has messaged me will I'll send across their names to the team and do the needful. Thank you so much for joining, and have a nice day. Hoping to see you all in our course. Thank you.